Hey everyone, how y'all doing? My name is Mateo and I am from Maschine Masters. Today, I'm going to show you how to get your vocals to sit better in an instrumental beat. So let's get a little background on this. In many cases, I'll have rappers coming in and they will bring their own instrumentals that they want to record their vocals over. In a lot of these instances, they unfortunately don't have the stems for the instrumental. I wonder why. Well, a lot of you know that this is a sad reality and work with it. So in order to get vocals to sit in a track where you don't have the individual stems to properly mix, you have to somehow make it work. Now, you could try to just have the vocals overpower the beat, but then you kind of miss out on the production. You know, you lose what the beat is there for, and the vocals are just like blaring. And I mean, you want a good balance between the two. So the other thing that you can do is use EQ to make room in the beat so that the vocals sit in the mix better. This can be a little tricky, so I'm going to show you using 3 different EQs, the various ways you can try to make this work. Now, the good thing is, since all of you are Native Instruments users, you should all have access to 2 of the EQs that I'm using because they're Native Instruments, and the third one is a free EQ that you can download. So the first of the 3 EQs that I'm going to use to show you how to make space in your beat for the vocals is the solid EQ from Native Instruments. Now, typically, the main portion of the vocals that is most perceivable to the human ear is the range in between roughly 3 to 5 kilohertz. So what we're going to do with this EQ is target around that range. Now, I usually like the 3.5K range. That's usually where I start my EQ. So I'm going to bring this EQ in and I'm going to go to the high mid frequency section and I'm going to bring this to about 3.5K or as close as possible. So there we are. That's pretty close. I'm going to leave the cue as it is, but I'm going to bring this down and I'm going to listen to the music while I bring it down.
Is that 808 without the heartbreak? Fuck the steaks, flipping cakes, I'm out on Broadway. Keep the pace, it ain't no race, so why you salty? Might just pull up in the rate, feeling bossy. Every girl gets a drink. Is that 808 without the heartbreak? Fuck the steaks, flipping cakes, I'm out on Broadway. Keep the pace, it ain't no race, so why you salty? Might just pull up in the rate, feeling bossy.
Alright, so I made quite a bit of room there in the beat for the vocals, and if I switch back and forth, you can hear the difference where the vocals are cutting through the mix a little bit better. So I'm going to play it again for you and switch it on and off.
Is that 808 without the heartbreak? Fuck the steaks, flipping cakes, I'm out on Broadway. Keep the pace, it ain't no race, so why you salty? Might just pull up in the rate, feeling bossy.
So if you listen to the beat alone without the vocals, we're going to hear what this EQ is doing to the beat. So let me mute the vocals and let's take a listen now without the EQ, and I'll bring the EQ halfway in. So as you can hear there, that's a dramatic difference to the beat. Now, sometimes that's all you can really deal with. I, however, do not like to. That's removing a big chunk of the strings in there, which is a huge part of this beat. And it's taking away from a little bit of that snap in the drums that I like. It's just not cutting through as well anymore. So yes, this makes room in the instrumental for the vocals, but I feel like it's sacrificing too much. So I'm going to show you a second EQ that's a better option because unlike this EQ right here, this EQ allows for mid-side EQing, which is hugely beneficial. This allows you to EQ only the mid section or the side section independently. typically, when you've got a vocal on top of a beat, the vocal is mostly in the mid section of the stereo field. So what I can do with this particular EQ is remove the frequencies that are fighting with the vocals only in the mid section, which is great. So that means those strings and some of that snap in the drums is still going to be there in the side image of the instrumental. So now that I have this switched to mid-side, I've unlinked the high-mid EQ section, and I go to the mid section here, and I bring this up to 3.3K. Unfortunately, there's no 3.5, but it's close enough. I brought down the Q a little bit because I felt like it was a little too narrow and it wasn't getting as much of the frequencies that I wanted removed. I'll start from 0 and bring it in. So let's bring the vocals back in, and I'm going to slowly start cutting the frequencies as this is playing.
There's that 808 without the heartbreak. Fuck the steaks, flipping cakes, I'm out on Broadway. Keep the pace, it ain't no race, so why you saute? Might just pull up in the rate, feeling bossy.
Okay, so yeah, about 11.5, I like it there. Let's bypass it and bring it in so we can hear the difference with and without it and having the vocals on top of the beat.
There's that 808 without the heartbreak. Fuck the steaks, flipping cakes, I'm out on Broadway. Keep the pace, it ain't no race, so why you saute? Might just pull up in the rate, feeling bossy.
Okay, so the vocals definitely sit in better with this EQ, but now let's remove the vocals and listen to the beat on its own with this EQ and hear exactly what it's doing to the beat. So we're going to start with the EQ out, and I'll bring it in. Okay, so it keeps a little bit more of the strings on the side, but still a lot of the drums, it's losing its snap, and that guitar as well lost a lot of its twang. I mean, it's better than the stereo EQ, but it's still not great. So lastly, we have this dynamic EQ from Tokyo Dawn Labs, and I have been using this EQ for the last year or two, pretty close to when it came out, and I absolutely love it because not only does it EQ in stereo, not only does it EQ in mid and side, but it lets you sidechain other things to this EQ, so it's only triggered when the other signal is playing. This is perfect for vocals, so it EQs dynamically. That means it's not always EQing the same way. So I'm going to show you how I set this up. So first off, I set this section from stereo to sum. And what this means is that this is the mid section of the stereo field. So we put it to sum. And I set my sidechain to external because we're letting an external signal influence this EQ. So then I went to my vocal strip and I opened up a bus. And I'd set it to bus 7 because that was the bus that I had available for it. You can set it to whatever bus you want. And then once you've done that, you go to this key section over here. This is for the sidechain, and you choose the appropriate bus that you assigned. So once you've got that set up, you'll then want to choose your band. So I have one band turned on over here, and I set it to 3.5. And I brought the Q down to about 2.4. And then what you need to do is you need to activate the threshold. So it's going to act like a compressor. And I brought it to a 2-to-1 ratio. And I brought this down basically until the signal was sufficiently EQing the instrumental. And I'll show you that as it's playing. So if we bring it all the way up and I play the beat.
There's that 808 without the heartbreak. Fuck the steaks, flipping cakes, I'm out on Broadway. Keep the pace, it ain't no race, so why you saute? Might just pull up in the rate, feeling bossy.
Yeah, so I got it about minus 31.5, but I mean, it's going to be different for your track. So these were the settings that I had for it because I liked it. Now, the other thing that's really great about this plugin is that it offers parallel processing. So you could actually be pretty aggressive with your settings here and then balance it out by adding some of the dry signal in here. So that's a really nice feature. But I've got the settings that I like, and so we're going to listen to it. I'm going to bypass it and bring it back in so you can hear what it sounds like with the vocals and the beat. So let's take a listen to this.
There's that 808 without the heartbreak. Fuck the steaks, flipping cakes, I'm out on Broadway. Keep the pace, it ain't no race, so why you saute? Might just pull up in the rate, feeling bossy.
Every girl gets her dreams cast into reality.
Awesome. So I really like this option because, like I said, since it's triggered by the vocals, it only EQs when the vocal is in. So it gives you the mid-side EQing option, but is only active when it needs to be. And this is great because it doesn't continuously affect the instrumental. And the fact that it is triggered by the vocals through a threshold, it's dynamically EQing it. So it's not always the same type of EQ. If it can allow more of the original signal to come through, it will. This is a really great option that I've started to go with for most of my mixing, and it's worked out really well for me. You folks can try this out. I highly recommend it because it is free. Thanks again to all of you that checked out this tutorial. We really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions about what we covered in this tutorial, please feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Also, if you have any suggestions for future tutorials, also leave that in the comment section below. As always, please like and share this video and subscribe to Maschine Masters to keep up with all our latest tutorials. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
There's that 808 without the heartbreak. Fuck the steaks, flipping cakes, I'm out on Broadway. Keep the pace, it ain't no race, so why you saute?